We're
All
recording.
right. Cool. Awesome. Welcome everybody to the Tuesday night call with Brigitte's team that she has invited us on as well. I've been super excited about this call because there's a few things I want to share about Brigitte. She's an incredible leader. She's a great friend, but she has a ton of amazing insight and she's built an incredible team, as you guys know. And there's so many of my coaches, I don't think I tell Brigitte this often enough, that there's so many of my coaches that look up to Brigitte and watch all of her training videos from even way back in the day. So I want to introduce her. She has a special place in our family's life and in our business. And I have to tell you a quick story about why. First of all, when Brigitte reached out to me, you guys probably know this story, but she had been stalking our Facebook after we shared that we were slowly paying off our mortgage. And she had been trying to lose weight by doing running and all sorts of different things. And when she looked through the transformation pictures that we had on our blog and on Facebook, she decided to give P90X and Shakeology a try. And she bought it, not through me. She bought it just through the website. So she was assigned as a free customer to somebody. And she had a great transformation with P90X. And I remember Jason was using Shakeology as well. And I remember I was working full-time at the time. This is in April of 2012. I've been a coach for about a year. And I remember on my lunch breaks, I worked 12-hour days, but on my lunch break, I would go out to my car to work, to either do phone calls or to check on and answer messages. So I went out and I remember seeing this message from Brigitte saying, basically what I just shared with you guys, and that she was ready to become a coach. And so I sent her the information. She got signed up as a coach. She started going through her coach training. And then I went over to do a getting started right call at her home. And not a call, but we did it in person because she's from my hometown. And I remember in her dining room table, there's a kitchen and the dining room table was just on the back side of the house there. We sat at that table for 3 hours, I believe, as Brigitte asked all these great questions about the business and how to do this and how to do that. And what I want to share about Brigitte is I shared that I was doing like a fit club. I shared I was meeting locally with people and doing workouts. I was inviting people to my house to do what is called a shake and share, where I shared my transformation and I gave the coach opportunity person to person, and I let them try and sample Shakeology, and at the time what was E&E. Now we have Energize, which is much better. But within it wasn't even a week, if I remember right, she had invited me to her shake and share along with all of her neighbors and everybody she'd invited. And I got there was a printed out paper with are you interested in fit club, having a free coach, doing a workout program, a coach, you wrote your name, email, what you were interested in. And I want to share that with you guys because I think it's an important lesson. She didn't, she asked the great questions, but she took immediate action on the things that she was learning as a brand new coach. And she actually learned by doing. So I want to give her that shout out. I also want to give her a shout out because she's our first personally sponsored coach. Some of you guys might be feeling this. If you're a diamond coach or a strong emerald coach, you've been going at this for a while. Brigitte was my first personally sponsored coach to hit Success Club 10 every single month. And it was just, I'm mentioning that because I read some of the questions that I have for you guys that you have for Brigitte today, asking about how do I get my coaches to do what I'm doing, and just how amazing it felt and blessed we felt to have somebody like Brigitte come onto our team that was matching our efforts. So that's who Brigitte is. If you guys don't know who Brigitte is, a little backstory. And she's done incredible things with her business. So I want to get right into the questions. I don't have any particular order. I was going to put them into order, but they're all just so great that we'll just kind of flow from one to the next and some will answer the other one. So I'm going to ask you a question because I just barely asked you, Brigitte, about mentioned how your journey started. We had our Getting Started Right meeting, and then you just took action and invited people to your house to try Shakeology and to share what you were doing with them. So how did your invitations look when you first started coaching? And this coach Tiffany asked, I heard some people say it's better to have conversations first, and others say that it's better just to jump right into the invite process. So how did your invites look as a brand new coach? And it's getting dark, so.
Yeah, you got to fix that lighting. Well, I do want to say just first off, thank you all for being on this call and for tuning in. I am such a proponent of like efficiency. And so I just want you to know, I have been praying about this call. I've been writing down like my answers to the questions that I've seen in the team pages, both in the Team 4 Fitness group page and the Dynasty team page as well. And I just want to promise you that there's something for you here. So there is something that you are meant to hear on this call. And it may just be one little phrase or nugget that you'll be like, that was for me, or that is for one of my coaches, and I get to pass it along. But I don't want to just benefit one person on this call. I want every single one of you to walk away with a benefit from spending your time here. So thank you for your time. As far as invitations and when I got started with this, so I do feel that there's a huge power in taking action right off the gate. As a brand new coach, I think that a lot of new coaches get cramped by overthinking things or wanting to go through all the training and thinking that they need to watch all of the YouTube videos before they can message that person that they're scared to message. I remember hearing the analogy of racing and how if you watch runners doing a race, then you'll see that you kind of know that, sorry, let me back up. You know that like foot holder things that they crouch down into, and then they use that to propel themselves forward and kind of get that, I don't know, thing that they can push against. If you watch a race, they all are wanting everyone else to put their feet into that starting gate before they do. Everybody wants to be the last person to put their feet in there. And that's because they know that the longer that they're in there, science has proven that their muscles get cramped up. Like the longer that they're in a holding spot at that beginning. And I remember hearing that at a leadership, I think it was a Beachbody leadership, that Doug Moff shared that, or someone from corporate. And I've always, like, that made so much sense to me, because I feel it's the same thing with our coaches, our brand new coaches, that the longer that they wait to send the invite, the more that their muscles are going to cramp up, and it's going to just be harder and harder. So I feel, if you had a new coach getting on a call, I would set a timer on your phone, be like, we have 2 minutes. You're going to invite someone right now before we get off this call. And so they can realize it's not hard. It's not a big thing to be scared about. And so I did. I had a shake and share. I signed up on a Thursday. We had our Get Started Right meeting on Saturday. And I had my first shake and share, like, I think Tuesday night, and I just messaged everyone and was like, hey, there's this product. And I mean, I can't even give you a good invite example, because my first invites were absolutely terrible. And nobody said yes. Like every single person that I invited to that shake and share said no. But everyone who couldn't come, I remember taking them a shake and telling them I had someone else I was taking a shake to, and can I bring it by their house? But even just from that group of people who all said no to me, I remember within 2 years, I was moving from that home. So I was leaving that neighborhood of people. And I remember having like this meeting at the church building, and I had invited everybody from my church, right? So I'm sitting in this meeting, looking around the room, and I was like, that person's a coach, that person's a customer, that person was a customer, now they're not. That person's a coach under so-and-so. Like literally every single person that I had invited to that shake and share who told me no over the span of the next 2 years had at least tried it. Maybe they were a continuing customer and had chosen, they didn't like it for whatever reason, but I just think that, it pays off over time. So my invites were terrible, but I stuck with it and kept following up with people. But literally my first invites were novels, and nothing I would ever recommend someone repeating. But the important part is that I just put myself out there.
I love that. I think a good lesson from there that I'm taking and reminded of is that everybody is not the best and not the greatest when they start, but it just takes getting out of the block and taking action. I love that. There's another quick thing that I noticed is that the people 2 years later, the people that told you no were all a part of your business in some way or another, whether part of your downline, one of your coaches, or a customer. So the important thing is to make that invite and then give people the time to see you, that you're serious about this.
Yeah. When I first saw that question, about invites and like, do you have the conversations first and make the connections, or you just invite them right away? One thing I just want to kind of point out is I do think there's a lot of people who think that person has to be your best friend, and before you invite them. And I think that like getting the invite out, like that is really important. I do think you should make some connections with them, but the real magic is after the invite. Like after you send that first invite, like that's when you show someone your heart and that you genuinely care. Like if you only invite one person, you send one invite to that person and you never follow up, then they're like, that person didn't actually want me on their team, or they didn't actually want me in their challenge group, or they weren't actually thinking about me. Like you just told them, by not following up with them, you just told them that you didn't really care, that they were just a number to you. So I think the follow-ups are like where you show someone you actually care. And then I also think repeating the connections afterwards, like continuing to pay attention to their social media posts, to, paying attention to the things that, that are happening on in their lives, and continuing to send the invite over and over and over again. That's when they're like, okay, this person really does care and they're not going away. So I think that's where the magic happens.
I love that. That's what happened with me and Lindsay as well. Like you came directly to me. I was somebody that talked to Lindsay and she invited me for 8 months, and she was asking about Gabby and about the girls, and she just cared. After the initial, do you want to join my team? I think you'd be great. It was, the relationship came after, but the invite came right away when she saw that my results with P90X. So I love that. The next one said, hey, how do I be just like you? And then
please don't be like me.
And then it said, but seriously, what was it like for you when inviting your first coaches? So this is going to kind of tie in. So what was it like inviting your first coaches, and how did you build your team? What advice would you give to a newbie coach?
So when it comes to new coaches and sending those first invites, kind of focus on that part of the question. I do think that it is like sharing your vision. I think it's a lot of sharing where you want to go. Another analogy that has always stuck with me is that people aren't going to get on a train if they don't know where it's going, and they don't know why that train is going there. And so I feel that sharing why you're doing this is so important. I selfishly constantly shared my why because I feared judgment. I feared a lot of, that was like my biggest fear as a brand new coach, was what are people thinking of me? And so I constantly was sharing why I was doing this, because I felt like if people could just understand why I was doing this, then they at least wouldn't judge me. They would at least know why it meant so much to me. And then the side effect of that was people were like, oh, well, there was respect and they wanted to be a part of it too. But I feel sharing like, this is what I want. This is my vision. This is what I'm creating. This is what I'm working towards. That lets people know, they want to be a part of that. And as far as training and building your team, the advice that I would give a new coach is to just remember that you have something to share. Like you have something, you do know how to train these people. As a brand new coach, I figured, listen, I signed up some customers last month. I know how to sign up customers. I can train you. I can show you how to sign up customers because I signed up customers last month. So as long as you're like, well, if I'm doing the work and I'm hitting Success Club, of course you can teach someone else to hit Success Club, because all you have to do is retrack your steps, right? So I think of it as like, if I lose my keys, then I'm retracking my steps. I'm thinking of when was the last time I remember having my keys, and what was the first thing I did after that? And then what was the next thing I did? And then what was the next thing? So when a coach comes to you and they have a question, you just think of when was the last time I felt that way? And what was the first thing I did? And then the next thing and the next thing. I think a lot of coaches just don't feel that they are capable of training people, or they're capable of helping somebody else. And so I just think that that's the biggest thing in your confidence, is just remembering that it's just like remembering where to find your keys. You know, you're just retracking your steps and sharing that with someone else too. So
Awesome.
I'm trying to see if I covered all of those. There's a couple questions within that. So inviting first coaches, I'll tell you on that part of it too. It was discount coaches when I first had coaches. But to be honest, that gave me a little bit of momentum because I was like, I just hit Emerald, so I can show you how to hit Emerald. Like that was my attitude. So I didn't care that they were discount coaches. I was like, I know how to sign up discount coaches. I can show you how to sign up discount coaches. Like everything I did, I was like, I know how to lose 2 pounds. I can show you how to lose 2 pounds. You know, like that was my mentality about it. And that's the mentality you can have about it too. So, yeah.
I love that. One of the things I think, as I'm thinking about the beginning of your journey and the beginning of my journey, is a lot of times I think a new coach thinks they have to understand the whole business in order to teach the whole business to somebody else. But I remember being a brand new coach, and it was like someone would ask me, like, how do I do this? And I'd be like, you know, I'm not totally sure, but let me go ask Lindsay and let's figure this out and let's do this together. So instead of positioning yourself as like the expert and I'm the coach leader of you, actually building a team of like, let's do this together plays a huge role as well.
Well, and the answer, you always have an answer for someone, and that is, I'm going to find out for you. Like, I'm going to find out that answer for you. But also, I mean, Google was my best friend, you know? So I just figured, like, you know where to find the answers, and that's all you need. Like, you know where, YouTube, Google, whatever, and then you just share that with them.
Yeah. That reminds me of something. When we started our Fit Club in Idaho Falls, this was before you were coach. We were doing our first Fit Club. We printed our own shirts and they looked horrible. And we invited everybody and nobody came but my 2 coaches and I. And we had this like deep, not the flat screen TVs. I pulled out of the car, put it up there, and we just did the workout. And then I remember my new coach, Laura, she's like, Scottie, are we doing Super Saturday this weekend? And it's funny because I was brand new and I didn't know what that was. And I was like, Laura, yes, we are, but let me get home tonight and I'll send you the details on what we're going to do. And I remember getting home and getting on Google. I was like, what is
Super Saturday?
And I found the info and I registered, and us 3 did our own Super Saturday, just like we did our Fit Club. We put a laptop up and we watched the video. So that goes back once again to the beginning steps, is just like ask what you need to do or find out the answer and just take the action.
Everything is figure outable. Like that is one of my favorite books from Marie Forleo, if I'm going to say her name right. One of my all-time favorite books I read all-time favorite, but one that I read last year. And she just shares this story. Is it okay if I share her little story in there? That her mother was always just fixing things and taking care of it. And she shares how one time that she came home and her mom had this little radio that she always carried with her. And she could always know where her mom was by the sound of this radio. Well, she came home one day and it was quiet. So she was like, the radio's not on, something's wrong. And she found her mom at the kitchen table, and it looked like there was surgery happening on this little radio, and the parts were all over. There was like a screwdriver, and she's like trying to tinker and fix this radio that had broken. And Marie's like, Mom, how do you know how to do that stuff? You know, because this is before YouTube. This is before internet days. You know, this is before all of that. And she's like, don't be silly, Marie. Everything's figure outable. And she just, you know, taking it apart and like was like, I'm just going to figure it out. And she did. She fixed this radio, just figuring it out. But Marie, she shares that story and she's like, lightning bolts were going through my body of like, oh my gosh, everything is figure outable. You're right. Like, everything is figure outable. And it's true. I mean, there's just no scenario you can come across as a leader that you're not going to have an answer for.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that story. You know, I haven't read that book, so that is going next on my list.
You will love it.
Okay. This is a great question. How do you attract clients to you that trust your vision without people thinking it's a scam?
Oh, I really like that one. You know, I think that goes back to how I was sharing that this was all about my why, you know, and talking about that. And it was me trying to avoid judgment, you know, and being worried about what people were thinking of me. And I constantly was sharing why this was important to me. And handling objections publicly, you know, someone I knew like the concerns I had about network marketing. And so that was my audience, you know, talking to you, like, what are their concerns? What hesitations would they have? And if I can handle it publicly in a post or in a YouTube video, then, you know, the back end of the conversations is going to be much easier. So
okay.
Yeah, I feel like I have to.
I love that. Hey, if you want a couple of impromptu questions, they just popped up from someone live. I like doing the live ones.
Yeah, and there's a
well.
few too that were in my team page that
okay.
I can add. Awesome.
Yeah, you feel free to hit any of those that you have, because I can't see those. Just whenever you want to hit those, just address them.
Okay.
So I have a quick question. There's a newer coach on here, Kelsey. Looks like she's a brand new coach, and she has her first discount coach on here with her. What advice do you have for new coaches that are afraid because they don't have the physical results they want yet, that they won't do well in this business? And it also goes with Tiffany's last question about, I'd love to know how you succeed with your own personal weight loss, because she's struggling to lose the weight as she starts her first goes through her first program. So what advice do you have for that new coach that doesn't have the results yet, that wants to build the business?
First off, I am so jealous of you because you're in a really sweet position, because you get to take people along with you for the journey. And in doing so, create so much trust. Like, you are going to have so many people rooting for you, and you're creating this entire community of people who are wanting to see you succeed and want to be a part of that. So I think so much of that is coming from a willingness to let people be a part of that. Let people be a part of that journey. I have a slide that we use in New Coach Opportunity webinars, and it's my favorite slide because it shows all of these transformations from our like Team Forward Fitness group. And all of those transformations are from people who on their before photo signed up as a coach. You know, so it shows that, listen, you don't have to be at the after when you start. Like, you can start when you are on the left side of the before and after photo, not just the right side. And so I think it's very powerful because, people are rooting for you. I think you will create so much more momentum. I think it's harder to constantly have to go back and remind people where you started from. So I think that's actually a huge advantage. I don't know how to talk to you as if it's a disadvantage, because it's not. And then when it comes to getting success in my own personal weight loss, you know, I will tell you that I think it comes down to me not trying to see what I can get away with and still get results. You know, having 2 feet, like one in each camp, but really truly committing. You know, I think that I've done the 21-day fix extreme plan, or I mean like the portion fix. We don't call it the 21-day fix meal plan anymore. It's the portion fix. I've done that when I've been trying to fit my 10 peanut butter M&Ms into the yellow container. And then, you know, like, then I've had my yellow container be my like sweet potatoes, you know, like you can follow the plan, and then you can really follow the plan. And I just think there's a chance to do a gut check and ask yourself, like, am I trying to see what I can get away with, or am I all in? You know, like, am I trying to see away with how much laziness I can get away with and still grow a business, or am I all in? I think it's the same in growing a business. Are we really truly following the tracker? Because you can follow the tracker and do the things and cross things off, and then you can also really follow the tracker, and you get completely different results. If you're truly like, you're following that tracker and you are really like all in on that, and you're not getting results, please get tested, because there are also health issues that are there and very real. I am someone who followed the 80-day obsession meal plan like to a T, and did that one so great. I didn't lose a single pound, but I was having health issues, you know. So also be sure that you're checking that if you're not getting the results. But you definitely need to do a gut check and see, like, okay, am I really truly like really doing it, you know? So yeah.
That's so good. I remember when I did 80-day obsession, I like did 100%. It's the best results I've had in my 10 years of coaching and doing programs. Like, it was 100%. Like, sneak out between church sacrament and first class to get my timed meal out of my brown paper sack in the car as fast as I could. And then I've had times when it's, I don't know about these 10 peanut butter M&Ms, but it would be like 50. And then I get to my after photo, I'm like, I look exactly the same, but I worked out so hard every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that analogy if you're actually doing it. So how about we take it sometime and you answer some of the questions, post some of the questions that you have from your team page written down.
Yeah. So
answer them and then I can pop back.
Yeah. So some that I received on my end were top things that I feel made a difference in creating a foundation for your team. And I really loved that question. It made me really think of like what's made the difference over time. And another quote that I've just kind of held on to, and I'm going to misspeak or misrepeat the quote, but the gist of it is that leaders create opportunities for people to come together. And I think of when I very first started, and I didn't have the money to do team retreats. I didn't have that many coaches to do team retreats, but I remember doing lunches. Like I would do a lunch and I'd be like, this is my emerald lunch. And I have a picture of like the 2 emeralds in Idaho Falls that I had, and we were sitting at a lunch, and then I did but this is back before Zoom. And so I did the instant presenter, was like the free webinar kind of thing. So I set that up for my out of state emeralds. And I sent them like a little gift card to go order lunch, and we had a lunch together. And like, then I remember traveling to Utah and telling all of the coaches in the areas, like, let's meet at a park and bring a lunch and let's get together. And when we went to Summit, I really tried to make sure we were like, I organized, like, let's be together. And then as the team grew, then it did lead to team retreats. And even now we do a lot of Zoom workouts. And so I can see the coaches who are engaging in that have developed friendships with one another, and even like the weekly Zoom chats. And so if you don't have the coaches to do a team retreat, there's still other ways that you can be creative. But I feel that that foundation comes when people have a relationship with other people on the team and not just you. I think that at the team retreats, I can see how this person needed that person and they needed that person. And there's just a web of like, I'm here, like all people connected, and it's not just me. Like your team will be so much stronger and have what a true foundation is when it's not a one-way relationship string tying them in only to you, but to other people. So you as a leader, you get creative about finding opportunities for your coaches to build relationships with one another. I think that makes a big difference. The other question that I really liked that I got on my end, I want to talk about, because I think this is just a helpful thing to share. And one of my coaches asked about taking care of kids and running a business. She goes, how do you take care of 3 little kids, run a business, keep the house tidy, make time for your spouse? Do you drop many of these things, sacrifice, or do you have, so you can balance, out of focus again, out of focus? Anyways, okay, so that's her question. I don't. Do not live, like there's no such thing as a balance. Another leadership retreat that was really significant for me was when we had this man come, and he was a juggler. So he like would do all of these stunts, and he would juggle, and he would be on a unicycle, and he like would move forward and backwards. And he was pointing out that like he's constantly readjusting to find the up point, the balance point. He's never ever in balance. He goes, I'm either moving forward or I'm moving backward on this unicycle. And then when it comes to the juggling, he's like, I only have like a few things in my hand, like one thing in my hand. Like there's only one ball in the air. He's like, I don't have, like, it's not balancing all these things. It's not juggling all the things. It's picking up one thing at a time and choosing what things you let go of, and then choosing another thing that you pick up. And to me, that has been so beneficial to recognize that, like, I'm not parenting right now. Like, I'm not cleaning right now. Right now, I'm Coach Brigitte. Like, this is what I'm doing. I pick up one thing at a time, and when I'm done with this, I will be done with this, and then I will be likely cleaning up after dinner because my husband's making dinner tonight. So I will be cleaning up after dinner, and I'm picking up that ball, and I'm going to put that down. I'm going to pick up another ball. But there's no such thing as balancing it all. I will also tell you that I remember going to a seminar and learning from Chalene Johnson that she was like, make a list of every single little task that you do and be as specific as possible. If it's like making the bed, I wash my hair, all of the things that you're responsible for. I drive the carpool, I'm like helping kids with homework, doing the laundry, like making meals, doing grocery shopping, all these things. And you then, after that list, identify on the right-hand side, is this something only I can do, or is this something someone else can do? And she's like, start delegating as soon as possible. And, so I feel that the more work grows, the more I'm like constantly trying to delegate, trying to get things off of my plate. There's things that have always been out of balance or things that just don't get done, and things that if it's going to get done, I'm getting someone else to do it because I just can't do it all. And I actually love when my daughter's like, Mom, how can someone else is coming over here and fixing this in the house, or someone's coming over and cleaning our house? Why aren't you just doing that? I'm like, Andy, I can't do it all. And I love that that's the message I'm teaching my daughter so that she doesn't think she's supposed to do it all. So I think that's an important thing to learn. And then one other thing, and then I'll let Scottie kind of go back to his questions. But when it comes to spouse support, so I got the question on that, like how do you get your spouse to support you? Another question I really love, I have 3 points in regard to that. And one is to ask yourself, does your spouse know why this is so important to you? Like, they can't support you if they don't know why it matters to you. So like, have you sat down and had that conversation of, this is why it matters? Not just, this is my goals, that's important to you, but the why that makes you cry, right? Like, why is that your goal? Why does that matter to you? Why is it so important to you? Why do you feel that you've got to do this? Like, you've got to share that with your spouse if you expect them to support the behind the scenes that it takes to achieve that why and to build that why. The second thing I want you to ask yourself is, are you sharing your wins with your spouse, or only your lows and frustrations? Because if you're only sharing all the times you're frustrated, like, of course they're not going to be like supportive, because they love you and they want to see you happy. And then in their mind, this is making you sad and this is making you frustrated. And so make sure that they get to participate in the wins. Like, when you're excited, you go talk to them. Like, you tell them like about your good days, and you tell them about the person who just lost a few pounds, and you're like so excited for them. And when you get the good message, like, share that with them. The third thing that I want to just share is to pick a bill and be in charge of it infinitely. Now it's yours. And then you get to tell your spouse, this bill, like, let's say it's date nights. Like, you're just going to take charge of date nights now. Like, this is no longer on your back. I got this from here on out. Dates from here on out are on me, right? Or, hey, that car payment, it's mine now. Like, I'm going to pay that now. Like, specifically choose the thing. Like, and I think tax-wise, if you've got a spouse income and your income, you're probably wanting it to be in a separate bank account anyway. I would think so for tax purposes. Knowing how our business kind of works, you got to set aside money, right, for your taxes. So I think it's really easy to be like, this is what Beachbody is in, and let's have a few automatic payments coming out of your Beachbody account that are helping this. Like, how can your spouse not be supportive when you're like, he can logically think in his mind, I'm talking to the women here, but your husband can logically think in his mind, but that's okay that dinner wasn't made and I don't have any clean clothes because, hey, she's paid for date night and the car bill's been paid. Like, that's awesome. It's worth it, But if there's no benefit to him and he only sees the negative and he doesn't even know why you're wanting to do this, then of course they're not going to support you. So I just want to share those things. What other questions, Scottie? Did we lose Scottie?
Yeah,
no.
Perfect. I was muted, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Oh, one other one, and I don't know, you might get to this. I saw several people ask, how do you keep yourself motivated daily? That's like a common question, right? Is that something?
Yeah, let's hit that one.
I just want to say, I was like, I'm not motivated daily. I'm just not. And I think that I'm committed. Like I am committed. And to me, like I've heard people say that everyone has a few core values that they literally cannot make decisions that go against those core values. And to me, integrity and commitment is such a big one. And that doesn't mean I don't like get off course and make choices that are against integrity or against commitment. But like I will self-adjust. I won't have someone else adjust me. Like that's because that's just a core value for me. And to me, like it just lacks integrity to only show up on the days I feel like it. Like I just literally cannot do that. And to me, like it's a matter of commitment of saying I'm going to do something and I'm going to do it. So it's not feeling motivated. You know, if we only worked out on the days we felt like it, we would never finish programs. If we only, were nice to, if we only cooked meals and fed our kids on the days we felt like it, they would be malnourished, So our business would be malnourished if we only showed up and fed our business on the days we felt like it. Like we have to just say, this is just what I do. I don't ask myself if I feel like it. This is just what I do. You own it as part of your identity. Like this is who you are. Like you are a person who brushes your teeth, right? You are a person who takes showers. That's a part of your identity. And this is a part of your identity too. Every day you work your business. Every day you put the open sign on and let people know your business is open for business. And you show up and you get in your challenge group every day and you do those things. And it's just part of who you are. So, yeah.
I love that. Makes me think of the example of the Old Faithful in Yellowstone. It's not the biggest geyser or even the most amazing or spectacular one, but it's the most well-known geyser in the world because it's faithful, that it's like goes off consistently and people can count on it. So I think about, I always tell my coaches the story of like, I think about, imagine, and this goes back to your, how do I stay motivated? Because I feel the exact same way you do on that about it's who you are. But I think about the time, like think about your favorite business in your hometown, because you guys have your own business. You guys have your own Team Beachbody business and team that you're building. Think about your favorite restaurant or your favorite store. Imagine going there, like let's say you want to go there to get the shoes that you want, that you've been thinking about for the time, or your favorite meal, you're like, I want that meal so bad. It's like their hours are like 10 in the morning to 9 at night, and you go at like 6 p.m. and you get there and all the lights are off and there's just nobody there. Like you would be very disappointed if you went to go have that, whatever that favorite meal was, and you drove just closed with no warning. And I think a lot of times, like that business owner, like he shows up and has that store or that restaurant open no matter what, every single day that they say that they're open. He might be having a bad day at home or he's not motivated to run that business that day, but no matter what, he shows up, and that's why those businesses are successful and create a great product for you. So you have to kind of take that mentality for yourself with your own business. Like you're not going to, I feel like it, like I didn't feel like working today, to be honest, this morning. I have to create, it's like who you are. And I'm somebody like Brigitte says that follows through with my word. And you have to create the habits. It's not motivation that gets you up to build your business. It's the habits that you create. Yeah. And I just say that to second what Brigitte said. Okay, I'm going to ask some other questions from Dwana. She's our one of my newest diamond coaches. She says, she has a few questions. We're going to go through them real quick. She says, how do you keep yourself motivated daily? And then you kind of answered that already, so you can hit on that in whatever way you want. But then what do you do to overcome the fear of sharing your physical journey?
I had a smile when I saw that. Is the connection okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Thumbs up. Abby, I can see you. Tabitha, thank you. Our internet has been so spotty and it's kind of a little stormy outside. But I had to smile when I read that question because I was really nervous about that, and I didn't share my before and after photos because I was just really shy. And posting alone on social media was a huge step out of my comfort zone and not something I was in the habit of doing before I signed up as a coach. And so, I had my Facebook page. Every time I got on a Facebook page, I would delete people. Like, I was not an open book. I had posted one time in the entire year before I signed up as a coach, and that's when my daughter was born. So, I just was not in a habit of sharing my life. And I know some people jump into the pool, and some people jump into the ocean, and some people step into the ocean and they get their ankles wet, and then they get their knees wet and so forth. And that was more of me. I kind of did a little bit, tested the waters, and then I did a little bit more. And I just tried to do something that scared me each day. Okay, I didn't die yesterday. Let's do a little bit more. I didn't die. Okay, I can share a little bit more. I did share those before and after photos privately though. So when I was having an invite with someone and having that conversation, I would share those photos with them because I felt it was important for them to see, that this works. And then it just came down to that I just saw how that did inspire people to take action. And it also just came down to knowing that I had to pay this forward. I just had to show people that they could get results because I know how that felt to be so hopeless. I remember moments this is so sad. I remember having times when I felt maybe if I can just gain more weight, then I could get on The Biggest Loser, and then I could for sure lose weight. Cause that's so illogical, but I remember my thought process, that's where I was at. Cause I couldn't figure out how to lose 30 pounds, but I figured if I could gain 50 more, then someone else could for sure help me lose 8. Do you know what I mean? I just felt so hopeless. And so finding this and finding a program that actually worked and the nutrition plan and having the Shakeology was such a game changer for me that I just felt I have to pay that forward. I can't keep that to myself. And I just know there's other people who I felt so strongly that if I didn't share it, there were people who would never get their chance. And I've always felt that way. I remember listening at a Super Saturday, just a random coach, and he shared about a puzzle piece. And he's like, look at this puzzle piece. It is unique. It connects pieces that this puzzle piece can never connect in. And he's like, you will connect people into this that no one else can reach. And I've always thought of that I'm like, you have no idea who's never going to get their chance if you're quiet and if you don't share it. And so you have to be bold. You have to be willing to put it out there so someone else can get their shot. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. And Brigitte, that's why you're so special. You know how to connect on those types of questions. And I really appreciate the way that you shared that answer to that. This Team Beachbody coaching is truly a gift. And when you can really understand that, it's you'll almost completely eliminate any fears that you might have. I think about, I won't tell the grizzly bear story, but I had a time when I encountered a grizzly bear one time. And then 2 days had passed, and then we encountered the same grizzly bear. The only time, this time I was not, the first time I was alone, the second time I wasn't. And the second time, I went running full speed towards the grizzly, yelling. And the reason is because there was somebody in need, because the grizzly was going towards my best friend. And both my dad and I, without even thinking about it, ran in the direction of the grizzly bear shouting because our friend was in need. So I think about our business in that way. Like we see this business, these workouts, the meal plans, the opportunity to better your financial future for your family or pay off debt as such a blessing and something that people need, that you overcome those fears. Like I'm deathly afraid of grizzly bears. When I'm about to go hunting, I sleep and I think about encountering them in my sleep. But I still go out, and the same thing with coaching, and do those things because I know this will bless somebody and help somebody out. So I have a couple more. We only have 15 more minutes, Brigitte, that I can be on. You can answer more questions after if you want, but we have the missionaries coming to our house here in 13 minutes, so I'll need to be off. But I want to ask, there's a question on here from Latori, and then I want to ask two of Dwana's questions. So these are the two I would like to hit. It's the one about the obstacles in your first year and the obstacles that you're overcoming like recently, and what you love about coaching as one question. So what were the obstacles in your first year? What's a current obstacle and how you overcame that? And then what you love about coaching.
So biggest obstacles, I mean, I think unfortunately this is going to be a repeat for me, and it was just sharing my life on social media. I mean, that was just really hard for me to put myself out there. So that was my biggest obstacle as I got started. And I would say a recent obstacle is like the panning for gold, like reminding myself that like it's worth it for those like panning for gold, like those golden nuggets. I think the thing I'm working through, I would love to share. Okay, let me think, because I'm like the obstacle I'm working through right now or the recent obstacle that I can share the solution for. I do think for a season, my belief was shaken as far as seeing the Beachbody on Demand come and the DVDs like go away. Like that was like a hard season. And I think like my belief in what kind of success a new coach could have was like a little shaken. I was just like, that was a hard transition time for me. And I'm really grateful. I'm so proud of this company and so proud of our corporate leaders. Like I've been a part of the coach advisory board and been on the backside of many really hard conversations. And I have the utmost respect for Carl Degler. I am someone who has very high standards for who I'm going to follow as a leader. And I will tell you that the more time I have spent around him, he has only earned my respect more and more. And we are in such good hands and with people of such high integrity. And that has been what has kept me going of like, okay, yeah, we're in a hard spot. We're going to find a solution. And we found a solution and we are on the upswing. So that was kind of a recent obstacle. And what helped is just leaning in and listening to the national wake-up call and being reminded of the new coach successes that are happening. And so it really, really helped. And what I love most about coaching, I think, is the one-on-one, getting to know coaches and feeling like I really helped somebody shift their life to a new direction. I think that like that feeling of like, I did something today that matters is like a really good feeling to have at the end of the day. Not just like, oh, I like was busy and I got things done and like I checked off my checklist, but like when I'm able to have those one-on-one conversations, like that feels really, really good. And if I can sound really kooky for a moment here, because I know not everybody believes in this, and then some people may judge me for even having done this, but one time I went to a psychic, and this is true, but one time I went to a psychic, and one thing she said to me, though, has like hit me in my core of what we do, and she goes, you have literally pulled people out of the grave. She goes, whatever you do for work, you have literally saved lives. And she goes, I'm getting that you've saved at least, and she told me an X amount of lives, she goes, where literally if you are not doing what you were doing for work, they would literally be dead. And that like hit me so hard at my core of like, I can never give up. I can never give up on this. That like, if there's literally like, and I know whatever you want to think about psychics, you know, whatever. But I was like, it just hit me so hard that I'm like, if I had said no, like that, there were literally people who would be not alive right now. Like that, like hit me so hard. And I just think we all have that ability. Like we have the tools to literally pull people out of their grave. Like that is so significant. And I think she's like, you're being so rewarded for that. And I'm like, it made me feel really good. So I just think that's what I love most about coaching, to think that I could have that kind of impact on someone's life. And we all have that opportunity to have that kind of impact on people's lives, to literally pull them out of their grave and like significantly change the trajectory of other people's lives for generations. You know, like you change a parent's life, that affects their children, affects their children's friends and their sphere of influence. Like the ripple effect that we have the tools to create is beyond comprehension. That I think if you all were able to sit with a psychic, you would be like, I am never giving up. So anyways, that's what I love most about coaching.
Man, I would love to end it just on that, but we are going to ask just one or two more quick questions. Man, you made me emotional, Brigitte. This is why you're such an incredible coach. And if we can all just, we don't need to be like Brigitte, you don't need to be like Scottie, but just have that deep conviction that you see from Brigitte about what we do and the importance of the work that we do, it'll start to happen. The fears will start to go away as you take the action every single day. And I remember listening to Craig Holiday like every single day as I first started my mission as a coach of helping people. And I just remember the phrase of him saying, most people spend their entire life working to build like their life. I don't remember the exact word, but to build like an income and a life for themselves. And then once they retire, they try to be significant. Then they try to go out and be significant in the lives of other people. And he said, this opportunity is so unique that we get to build like an income and significance simultaneously. And that's what you're doing, Brigitte. And that's what each and every one of you guys gets to do as well. So I'm going to ask a last question that came up on the live chat thread, if you don't mind, from Latori. There was like two questions. I wanted to answer hers because she asked one and then she came back with another one. It said, what's the most valuable action step to make $10,000 a month with this business? So that's a huge goal. But that's something you've done in your business and far surpassed. So I think we could talk about this. Then she goes on to say, I want to make money.
Yeah.
I'm upside down in this business. I spend more than I make. I know it's a lack of effort I put in and a lack of consistency, but I want to know the most valuable action step to take. So if I don't do anything else, I can at least do that step to bring in money.
Latori, I want you to make money too, and I know that you can, and you have the tools to do so. So I just want to tell you that. And I also feel so strongly that none of us would have a goal on our heart if it wasn't meant to be. Like, I don't have the goals to do a Beachbody, what's the right word? Like the bikini competition stuff. That's just not on my heart, you know? Like, I think sometimes we tend to think like, oh, everybody wants the same thing, and that's not true. And so your unique desires and dreams are on your heart for a reason, and don't ever let that go, because it's meant to be. Like, that's your spirit, your soul, like reminding you of what you're capable of. And so I just want you to understand that. And I think having a money goal is such a noble thing. Like, it is not shallow at all, because of the work required to do so is deep and like so significant. It completely changes your life to do the work to create that kind of money, right? The most impactful thing that you can do to create money and get out so you're not upside down. Being upside down too, I'm a little confused on, because the only requirement is the business fee. That's $15.95. That's our only overhead. So take that into consideration. Of sometimes I think we're like, oh, I have to buy this or that. I'm like, but wouldn't you be doing that otherwise? Like, isn't that food you're consuming? Like, your overhead is $15.95 a month. So that's what you're upside down in. And that is like one person ordering Beachbody on demand this month. Like get someone to order a Beachbody on demand and you're not upside down. But the most impactful action step that you can make to get to $10,000 and above and make money is to share this business opportunity with coaches and sign up coaches. I will also tell you that is the easiest thing. Like I was having this conversation with some friends coming home from Scottie's retreat. So Scottie just had a retreat recently, and coming home, we were talking about this and how, like, if you sign up 3 customers, I just want you to think about this, like 3 customers a month, which is, I think, pretty standard for a lot of people who they have the basics down. Like you're signing up typically 3 customers. You get so much more bang for your buck and so much more momentum, and it's so much easier for you to sign up 3 coaches compared to 3 customers. Like it is less work to work with 3 coaches over customers for a couple of reasons. Like one, you can track their orders a lot easier. Like the flaws of the coach online office, right? You can track if they postpone your coach postpones an order, it's red. It's like warning, this person delayed, talk to them, reach out to them, warning, it's red. So you can track it a lot easier. Number 2, the community. You know, we talked about that foundation of getting like building a team, and how you as a leader, you're going to be creating opportunities. You're connecting people to one another. And coaches want to do that a lot more than customers do. Like, I don't know if you guys feel that same way, but a lot of times the customer is like, I signed up with you though, Scottie. I didn't sign up with Tabitha and Courtney and Marissa. Like, I don't really care about building a relationship with them. I care about, you're my coach. You need to help me, right? So I think sometimes our customers don't lean in to the community aspect as easily as coaches do. Now, that's my limiting belief. So I could definitely be saying something different in 6 months from now. That's my opinion right now. I think coaches care a lot more about having a relationship with other people too. Like they want to lean in more. So I think that makes it easier on you as a coach to have people who are trying to like lean in. It makes it easier. And then also when they're putting a skin in the game because they want to get results so they can share it. Like, so they're really sticking to that nutrition plan and doing the workouts because they know like all eyes on me. Like I've gotta like show that this works for my audience. And so I think coaches tend to be more like they work harder on their fitness program and they're willing to share that more. So like if you were to say, this is the amount of effort I can give the business, you are going to go so much further if you spent all of that effort focused on the business side and recruiting custom coaches. And then the default being, oh, you don't want to join my business? Well, you at least should be buying the product, right? Like that's the default, not I'm going to send 10 customer invites and the default will be, hey, do you want the discount? Like that's so much work and effort and not going to create the momentum you want. So if you have a limited supply of effort, which we all do yourself a favor and lead with the business, talk about the business. If you're only going to send 5 invites today, send them all to coaches and prospects and people that you want on your team. And you will build that income very easily. You can do that. It is definitely possible. I think it's really cool in this business, by the way, that there are a lot of people earning that much money who are not in the spotlight. That's the one thing I love. I have coaches I know who make 6 figures and have never been a lead. Like, think about that. Like, I just think that's an incredible thing. So it's not just the people that you see walking across stage that are earning big money. It's definitely feasible for you too.
So true. I want to second on that. And it is time that my door is going to be knocking any minute now.
Yeah.
When I started as a coach, it sounds like I'm the grandpa coach here. We didn't have challenge packs. And the way that Success Club worked is like I started my business with a goal of Success Club 10 every month. And it's something I've done for 113 months now. It's one of those things I know even Brigitte sometimes have asked me questions like, why do you do Success Club 10 every month? And that's what I love about Brigitte. She's always wanting to know why people do what they do. But I remember my goal was Success Club 10. The reason is I knew that I would earn the Success Club trip that year. And it's just the goal that my coach told me would be the most likely path to help me be able to bring my wife home from work. And as I started my business, you could get one Success Club point when you had a new customer on Shakeology Home Direct, or you could get 2 Success Club points if you signed up a coach on Shakeology Home Direct. So for me, if my goal was Success Club 10, and this is for LaTori, I knew that I had to recruit coaches to my team. I knew it would be an easier path to find 5 coaches than it would for me to find 10 new customers every month for that goal. Now Success Club, you get 2 points whether they're coach or customer, but back then it was 2 points for a coach and it was 1 point for just a customer on Shakeology Home Direct. So to second on what Brigitte said, my biggest tip to get to that level, because that's something that I was able to accomplish in my business in 14 months. And I did it solely on building a team. Like 100%, all of my efforts were building a team and understanding what volume in my business was and how to create volume in my business. Those 2 things, building the team, recruiting coaches, and building a team. That was it. So I just wanted to share that message with you. And
I think I'll share like one last thing. I know you've got to go, but I'll share one last thing before we wrap it up, if that's okay. But you can go. I know you've got.
Oh, I was just going to say that was my main. I was just so focused on building a team, helping those coaches have success in building it together, and obviously having a clear goal like you have right now of that amount. Just having that clear goal and then building the team and understanding the volume. So I knew what to do with my business as I signed those coaches up. So I knew where to put them. That's it. Okay, you can end it out, Brigitte. And if they ring, I'll just hop off.
Okay. Thank you so much, Scottie.
Yep.
So one of the questions that I saw on one of the team pages is that they were asking, how do you get people interested without being too sales-like? And how do you be authentic and post content that is engaging? And I really love that question because there's a few things I feel I've like kind of recently like had aha moments about like that. Namely, I do want to share that there's the jab, 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 right hook approach to social media. And I strongly believe in that as far as getting people interested in what we're doing and having them be ready to take action. The jab, 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 right hook approach is when you think of a boxer and they take jabs and they punch someone in the ribs, and then you see Rocky punch him in the side on the other side, and then they punch him in the shoulder, and they're just doing these little jabs, and then he does the right hook and punches the guy in the jaw and he falls over. So you kind of are wearing them down. And then the right hook is like the closing where you get the result that you want. And Gary Vaynerchuk has shared that approach, and that's how you sell on social media is you need to make sure you're not just throwing out all of these right hooks. I think I'll see coaches who will even copy and paste a right hook post that they saw another coach make, and it falls flat. And the reason being is they haven't done the jab, jab, jabs, right? So that makes a huge difference in getting the result you want, making sure that you are sharing why you love this business. Oh, it was payday. I just made money, you guys. I love my team. I'm like, this is what I'm so grateful for. And oh, look, this coach is having success. And you're constantly talking about this business over and over and over every single day. And then you throw out that right hook, like, look, I'm ready to and capable and so excited to mentor 5 new people this month. Like, let's go, let's do this. Those right hooks are not effective if you haven't been constantly every day talking about the hustle, talking about what we do as coaches. I think we tend to do a lot of that in the challenge groups. That's a little more easy and natural for people to be like, I did my workout today. I had my shake. Oh, and I also drink this like lemony, what do people call it? Go-go juice or whatever, that makes me like all hyper and actually excited to do my workout. And it's so easy for them to share that, but they fail to share the business every single day in some small way. So make sure that is, something that you're being mindful of. Another thing I just want to share about social media is that to be authentic and posting content that is engaging, I think it's important to recognize that people are in it for themselves, and they're not like, this is a cancel culture. You know, there has to be a reason for them to follow you, or they're going to cancel you. They're like, it's so easy for them to mute you. It's so easy for them to unfollow or to just swipe, do that like long little swipe and go to the next story. And so there has to be a reason in it for them that they benefit watching your stories. I think a lot of coaches have gotten in that routine of, I'm just documenting my day, and that's my job. I'm here to document my day. And I think that in doing so, it's a disservice to your followers and to yourself, that your views will just go down if that's your mindset and approach to your stories. There needs to be a reason in it for someone else to continue watching. And it can be just a simple, I always like freeze up when someone just says, add value. And I'm like, whatever. But if someone tells me like, add a tip, like what tip can you share today? It can just be one small little thing. It can be a tip for cleaning your shoes. I shared how I cleaned my shoes the other day, and I got like 10 messages from people who were like, what product did you use? A little tip like that, or sharing with them that there is a sale going on at Old Navy on the athletic clothes right now, or here's a coupon code, or here's a little way that I organize my shaker cups so they don't all fall out of the cupboard. Like, what tip can you give them that's just a quick piece of advice? I remember, there's a real estate agent that I follow here in Arizona. I am not looking to sell my home. My husband's a real estate agent, so like, I'm not following her because I'm like, whatever, but I love following her because she's always adding value every single day. And mostly she gets on most times and just shares like 4 to 6 stories of her talking about a podcast that she's listening to that day and why she loves it. And she gives me the synopsis of what stood out to her, and how she's going to apply it in her life. And then she shares a screenshot of the podcast. And I can kind of tell, like, on the days that she doesn't have something to share, that's her fallback. Like, at least she's going to share that and add value to me in that way. And I will still listen, even if it's just for that. She'll give tips on, like, if you want to get the most value out of your home, do this or whatever. So there's other things, but even just for that, I'm like, I'll take a 20-minute podcast synopsis in your 4 to 6 clips and Insta stories any day. That saves me time. It adds value to me. It can't just be motivating. It can't just be inspiring. So even in your workout clips, like, what value does that have to someone else? Like, tell them right on the thing, like, a little bit of your story. Samantha Rosenthal is a coach who does this really well. Annabelle Davies on our team does this really well. Several coaches do this really well, but they'll share, like, I used to not be in the habit, and this is how I've been able to stick with it. These are the things that motivated me to get my workout done today. Or, here's a few inspiring quotes, or here's some positive affirmations, and they'll write that on those workout clips. And that is dual purpose. It's still doing the job of, like, here's a routine. You can trust me. I'm reliable, but you're also adding value. So anyways, I just wanted to share that if you want content that is engaging, make sure you are adding tips. You are realizing that they need to have a reason to follow you. Being authentic means that you're willing to share all of it. I think, if you're having a hard time, you're willing to share that, but with a plan of what you're doing to pull out of it. People don't want a victim. They want to root for a victor, someone who is on the way up. So kind of share your plan, but be willing to kind of share the good, the bad, the ugly. And I think that makes a difference. So I want to respect your time. We've already gone over a lot, but if you guys have any questions or things that I didn't get to, just repeat it or tag me in a comment in the team page, and I can comment underneath and share a few thoughts with you. But thank you all for being on. I hope that you guys at least pulled one thing. Just one thing that you can take and apply to your life. And even if it's just, don't do a team call when you've picked off your nail polish and you only have one left. Hopefully you got a lot more tips than just that. But I really appreciate you guys all being on here. And I just want to reemphasize the fact that you have the tools here to not only change your life, but the lives of other people. And this can work for you too. You have what it takes, and you are here for a reason. You've been called to this for a reason, and you will help people that no one else can. You will reach people that I can't reach. You are a puzzle piece that is needed that I can't connect anyone else to. So get out there, change some lives, and have fun. Thanks, you guys.